On board the Allure of the Seas, it's Monopoly on Ice. So it's Monday night. We had spent the day out at Atlantis over in the Bahamas. Now we're back on the ship. And this is before dinner, so we're kind of taking in the ice show down in Studio B on deck number 3 of Allure of the Seas. This is me kind of grabbing some footage here of the elevator shafts just to give you an idea of just how tall this ship is.
We're on deck 8. Look at that. That is deck number 5, 4, 3 all the way down there. Central Park straight ahead.
So here we are in Studio B. This is the ice skating rink on the ship, deck number 3. And if you look at the floor plan for the ship, it takes up a large chunk of the middle of the ship. But as you can see, it's quite well laid out. A lot of great equipment in there. It's a really good sound system. It's really nice to watch a show in here. I believe they opened this up for people to do ice skating and stuff, you know, throughout the day, certain times, things like that. You have to kind of check the cruise compass for that. But I know that I've seen it before because we've been on the Allure twice and on the Oasis of the Seas once. And of course, both of the ships share the same plan. So I know that they open it up for regular skating. I think you were required to wear long pants, and then they obviously give you the skates and stuff. But it's kind of a small rink. But if you think about it, it's on board a cruise ship, so they make the most of it. This show is, I think the show is was called Monopoly on Ice. This cruise was a couple of years ago. But they probably still do something similar on current cruises on the Allure, and I think they even had something on the Oasis, but we didn't go to it. But it's definitely entertaining, a lot of great music. You'll hear throughout the video a lot of the different types of music that they play in there. It's very energetic. Of course, it's all choreographed and themed, and a lot of fun to watch. It's a great entertainment. This is one of those reminders of the types of entertainment that you get on board a cruise ship. And there's no cost, of course, to go to this. You just, make your reservations. I can't remember if you have to actually reserve this or if you can just show up in Studio B at the time of the show. Some of the things on the ship you definitely have to reserve ahead of time, either even before you get on the ship or through your TV in your stateroom. I can't remember if this was one of them or not, but it's definitely a good show to check out. A lot of fun, very entertaining. Here in this little piece here, you can see where they reference Giovanni's table. I apologize for the quality of the video. This piece right here was recorded on a GoPro 3, I think, because this cruise was a couple of years ago before I got my 5. And the lighting in here was a little difficult for the GoPro to handle with the spotlights. So kind of a dark background and then the spotted, on the performers. So the quality of the video is not exactly perfect, but it gives you a pretty good idea of what the show's about. Transitioning to another part of the show, a different theme. This one had a nice little side bonus for us because this happens to be one of the favorite songs of my wife. So she definitely enjoyed this part of it here. You can kind of tell from the GoPro that it's a little loud in there, but it's very good quality. The music sounds great. It's a very entertaining theater in terms of how they designed it on the ship. The show itself is very well choreographed. They have such a small floor that you don't see the greatest number of like ice skating tricks and things like that, but it's definitely an entertaining show. A lot of different pieces to it, a lot of different changes of the scenery, of the sound, of the costumes, and so forth. So we were both sitting here watching the show. I'm kind of recording here on the GoPro. My wife is doing a little bit of recording on her cell phone, her Pixel XL, so we switched to that now. You kind of notice a little bit of a different field of view here. Still kind of a similar problem with the lighting. It's just for phones and cameras, it's kind of hard to record in there. You see the lady sitting in front of us attempting to do kind of the same thing. Very entertaining show. I think the theme or the title was Boardwalk on Ice, but they go through a lot of different things throughout the show, and so I don't remember exactly what they called it. It was a couple of years ago, but you'll get a couple of close-ups here from the cell phone. A lot of different types of music in the show, as you can hear. I think you got some Van Halen coming up in here in a second. And then there's also an acrobatic performance that's coming up in just a second. You know, that has to be hard to stick the landing on some of those with such a small place to work with, you know, in terms of the size of the ice that they're working on. That's got to be difficult. I'm sure they train for it and everything, obviously, throughout the cruise. During the day, they're doing rehearsals and stuff like that, but it's such a small area that it's got to be hard to work in. So here's a performer I mentioned earlier. I think she was a guest on the ship. For some reason, I'm wanting to say that they had announced her as some sort of special performing guest from somewhere over in Europe earlier in the cruise. I don't remember. This was a couple of years ago, so I'm kind of going back trying to remember exactly how this came about. But very good, very entertaining. A little bit of a combination of ice skating, theatrics, and then regular acrobatic stuff. So it's very cool to watch. So right here, we're down to the end of the show. And then later on after dinner, we make our way over to the Nightclub on the ship. I kind of have a little bit of a problem with this, only from just standpoint of the layout of this ship, because on the Oasis class ships, this sort of seems like an afterthought. Previous cruise ships we've seen, they've given the Nightclub a little bit more space, a two-story layout, better equipment, just kind of a more thought and more appreciation for it. On the Oasis class, it's horrible. I got to be honest with you. That's just my opinion, of course, but I'm a retired nightclub DJ, and so for me it was just kind of painful to sit in here because it's very small. The equipment's, it's kind of just like an afterthought to me. The DJs on a cruise ship, a lot of people probably wouldn't notice a difference. I know I do, just because that's what I used to do. So it kind of grates on my nerves sometimes when I hear some of the stuff that I hear on cruise ships. And they've gotten better over the years. They start to bring in DJs from outside of the cruise ship for like short periods of time. I'm from Orlando, and I know some local Orlando DJs that actually go out on cruise ships for like a month at a time and kind of bring real nightclub experience to a ship, which is kind of cool. And they didn't always do that, so they are getting better. But it's a little bit painful for me to watch. But this gives you an idea of what the club is like on board the Allure. I think it's similar on the Oasis, but I don't remember because we didn't actually go in there during our cruise. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, be sure to hit the like button. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, hit that subscribe button and don't forget the bell icon so you can be notified when I post a new video.